Welcome to another episode of Inside Rangers Football. I'm your host, Brant Freeman, as always, joined by Smithson Valley head coach Larry Hill. The Rangers are now 5-1, more importantly, 3-0 in District 12 5A play after a convincing 48-0 win over Layman this past Friday from Ranger Stadium. And Coach, the score says it. Pretty solid win for you this past week. What were your biggest takeaways from the win over the Lobos?
Well, coming out of the open week, you're always worried. We hadn't played in 15 days. We're going to be rusty. Are we going to start slow? We're going to be sloppy. The things that I think every coach worries about coming out of the open week. And while we had our moments of that a little bit later, we did start well, obviously, with opening kickoff, return for a touchdown, and then we had a hot start offensively. But I think we did what you're supposed to do to win. I think we had 8 explosive plays. They only had 3. We had 3 takeaways. We did turn it over once, but we were +2 in turnovers. So the big critical components of winning, we were able to dominate in those areas, and we were able to dominate in the final score as well.
Yeah, talk about a tone setter. You said at the opening kickoff, take it back by Kyler Clark for a score, and then when you get the ball first in offense, your first offensive play, 43-yard touchdown run, David DeHoyas. I don't know if you could script the first 5 plays of the game any better.
Yeah, it was, and then I think a couple of plays later on that, we hit TJ on the dead run, and he goes for a touchdown. So we got off to a hot start, really got them swimming upstream in a hurry, and that's what you hope to do, and we were able to pull away early and get all of our players in the game, and most of them for a significant amount of playing time, and of course, as we know, that's not always possible. So it was a good night all the way around.
It's never easy to shut anybody out, yet you've done that now in back-to-back games, and of course the one on Friday, as you pointed out, came after a bye week, and you're always kind of concerned about how teams come out in terms of focus and energy and all that after the bye, but your defense just continues to stay locked in.
They do, and we're preventing those explosives, as I mentioned a while back. So many offenses, ours included, rely on explosives because it's hard to drive the ball consistently, drive after drive. You need some big chunk plays, and it's 2 weeks in a row we've been able to prevent them, and by and large they haven't been able to put together an 8, 10, 12 play drive, and nor can they get it in one shot. So our defense is playing well right now.
So you mentioned the explosive plays on the other side of the football for your offense. You're averaging better than 9 yards per play on offense this past week, and you're able to build up that big lead, and because of that, you're able to get in some of the second team, third team players in, and really for some significant time, starting to see those guys cycling in the third quarter, not late in the fourth. How special was that for them to get those opportunities?
Well, it is special. Those guys work hard. I mean, they're 12-month-a-year guys just like the starters are, and they're up here at 6:30 a.m. for practices just like everyone else is. They're in the weight room, they're in the meeting room, and so to see them get their opportunity and as you said, take good advantage of it. Our backup players on defense didn't yield a point. Our backup players on offense went down, scored a time or two, and moved the ball well. So it was just a good night to be a Smithson Valley Ranger.
We mentioned the great start for you with the opening kickoff, but I really thought the entire night started off with a very special moment. Chandler Fuller, the daughter of the late Cody Fuller, who played for you, sung the national anthem. Everybody was devastated by the news of his passing this past May. I know you coached him. You got to know the Fuller family very much. How special was it for that to have happened at Ranger Stadium this past week?
Well, as you said, Chandler's Cody's daughter, and she and Cassie, her mom, Cody's widow, and that whole family are special to the Smithson Valley community. And Cody Fuller will never be forgotten. I think we've got one of our special two-way stars, two sports stars, David DeHoyas, selected to wear his number this year, wear number 7 to honor Cody. And the world's a lesser place without him. But it's neat to see Chandler not only do something that she excels at. She has a wonderful voice, but to honor her dad as well.
Well, I'm sure he was smiling by hearing his daughter give the national anthem, and with the Rangers win this past Friday as well. Plenty of big plays, all 3 phases, special teams, offense and defense. Coach Hill takes us through this week's Plays of the Week.
Well, we got an opening kickoff. Looks a little bit like Cody Fuller taking it to the house like he used to. So let's go watch that one and all of our Plays of the Week. Our first play of the week is the opening kickoff of the game, the first play of the game. As you can see, Layman's kicking off to Smithson Valley. The kickoff, it's a shorter kick to the right, and senior Kyler Clark fields that ball on about the 17-yard line, and he's going to go all the way. He's going to go 83 yards for a touchdown to open the game. As the play unfolds, you can see he hits that crease. We get some nice kick-out blocks, some kick-in blocks, and then he makes a cross-field cut, and then it's just pure speed, and Kyler's got a lot of it, and he's able, even though they have the angle on him, he's able to outrun the angle all the way to the corner of the end zone to start the game off, putting the Rangers up 7-0. As we watch the play from the back of the view, or from the back of the kickoff team, you can really see the blocking as it unfolds. There's the kick. The camera kind of squeezes in there, and we're going to focus on a bunch of blocks here. To the extreme right is Daniel McBride, one of our junior tight ends. In the middle is Cade Spradling, a sophomore linebacker. And then on the far left, there's Gavin Woods, senior linebacker. You watch all three of those guys wall their man to our left as we look at it. And then we get a couple of blocks kicking somebody to our right. On the far side up there, nearest the sideline, is junior Nicholas Dudzikowski, and then junior Braxton Alexander is the second blocker in, and they create that alley for Kyler to get in. And then he makes one cut right there, and he gets two final blocks. David DeHoyos there on the left, and on the right is Braden Bafidis, the other returner. And they get the last two blocks to spring him, and then he hits the crease. And just an outstanding way to start the game, puts Layman on their heels almost immediately, and of course gives us a 7-0 lead. Our next play of the week is an offensive play. It's the first play that we have the ball. Following the kickoff, Layman gets the ball, goes 3 and out. We have great field position. We're running Kyler Clark, the guy just returned the kickoff, coming around. We fake a sweep to him, coming where the arrow shows. We fake it to him, and then we pitch the ball against the grain to David DeHoyos. Normally a safety, doubles up at running back some, and he takes the ball on the edge, and he gets behind two senior blockers. T.J. Hunt at the very top and Mason Birch are doubling the outside two players, and then another senior, Braden Bafidis, who just got a great block on the kickoff return. He gets a great block on this sweep play, and we get David down the sideline. One man to beat. You can see about the 5-yard line. Are they going to knock him out of bounds, or is he going to score? And David kind of knocks the guy off of himself and takes it in the end zone. See it from behind the defense. Here comes the sweep fake there, and then we pitch the ball there. There's your two blocks, Mason Birch on the right, T.J. Hunt on the left, and then there's Braden Bafidis' block on the safety, and then David's down the sideline. Kind of kid's falling, gets a little bit of hand on him, and then right here at the end you can see the collision going to take place on the 5. David wins that collision, gets it in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. Our last play of the week is a defensive play. We're going to focus on senior Weston Ross. He's one of our safeties, sitting high in here. You can see right as the play unfolds, he shifts to where the 3 receivers are, gets a great read on the ball, and picks it off right there about the 40-yard line, and then runs it, houses it 40 yards for a touchdown. We scored in the kicking game. We score on a kickoff return, or to start the game, and now on an interception return. Right there at the end on the 12-yard line, we get a block from McLean Garrett that makes it possible to go all the way. And, just a great way to start the second half coming out of the locker room. From behind, you see what caused it. There's Weston in the middle. He's kind of going to drift over to where the receivers are to the far side of the field. And we get good pressure. Jackson Maynard right up the middle. Noah Herring from the outside. You can see the quarterback's kind of having to fall away from his throw, not get a whole lot on it. And the ball hangs in the air, and that's when Weston high points it there on the 40-yard line. Got a great alley. Looks like he's going to score, maybe one man to beat. And then McLean Garrett gets that guy, the one that could cut him off, keeps him from getting over there, and Weston takes it in for the score. And those are our plays of the week.
And that's a wrap on the game against Layman. Up next for Smithson Valley, San Antonio MacArthur. Another 12-5A district game is on the horizon on the road. And this week, it's a game we're going to preview coming up next on Inside Rangers Football.
2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for the Rangers. Stand up and holler!
Ow! No, what's wrong? I really hurt my leg. That's horrible. Wait, Elle's dad sells insurance. Maybe he can help.
I wish he could, but...
My dad has his life insurance with Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance.
Yes, but...
My
My mom has her homeowner's policy with Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance also.
I know my uncle says he only trusts Jeremy Fuller State Farm with his auto insurance needs.
Guys, wait! We do so many great coverages, but just not cheerleader legs.
Hey, that's okay. It's all better now. Let's start from the top, but with a little change.
2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. All for Jeremy Fuller State Farm Insurance. Stand up and holler!
Yay!
This week in Rangers trivia, Smithson Valley receiver TJ Hunt is already up to 8 touchdown receptions this season through 6 games. Which former Ranger holds a single season record? Is the answer A, Derek Hausler, B, Cody Rinkin, or C, Trevon Merrick-Woodard? The answer is A, Derek Hausler. In the 2015 season, Hausler hauled in 11 touchdown receptions. He also holds a single season record for the most receiving yards of the season with 958. Hunt is currently on pace for close to 900 yards himself and to break the touchdown record as he's on pace for 13.
Back from Rangers trivia, and again, the answer to that question, Derek Hausler for you, Coach, back in 2015, 11 touchdown catches that season.
Yeah, he's a special player for several years, but that year really special. And Josh Atkins was smart enough quarterback to, where is he? And let me get it to him, because it usually ends up well. We played 15 games that year. That helped you get 14 games. But he was a good player and still lives in our community. So, Derek, if you're watching, let's get on having those kids and getting them into the Ranger program.
Okay. Well, bad news for you, though, Derek. Right now, TJ Hunt, again, is on pace to break that record. He can have up to 13 in the regular season if he keeps going at this pace. But let's now focus on the opponent coming up this Friday, San Antonio MacArthur. The Brahmas come in. It's been a tough season for them. They're 1-5, winless in district, 0-3. As you take your first glance at this Brahmas football team, what stands out?
Well, they played a competitive schedule, very competitive schedule, and have had their moments. They just haven't put enough of them together to get more than the one win. And they're well coached. They've got not in recent times, but a great tradition dating back. And we're playing on the road, and I think more than anything for us too is just another opportunity to prove ourselves. We're trying to raise our level of play to where no matter who we're playing, best team, worst team, somewhere in between. We're trying to play to a standard, and this week will challenge that.
You look at MacArthur, and yes, the record certainly is the first thing that jumps out at you, but keep in mind, this is an NEISD school, and used to be in an NEISD district along with MacArthur and Reagan and Madison and Churchill and programs like that. And I seem to recall back in those days, every single one of those schools loaded with athletes. There tends to be very athletic players from the NEISD. So MacArthur, record notwithstanding, a team with athletes.
They are, and they can score from anywhere on the field, and they've got multiple playmakers. They've got a couple of different ways to attack you that we're a bit vulnerable to. Defensively, they run a couple of different fronts that they try to confuse blocking patterns, and so we'll have to do what we do. It doesn't really matter who we're playing or what style of play they run. We're gonna go at them a certain way, and we need to take care of the football. We need to get some takeaways, clean up some mistakes, and handle the road trip, and go and see if we can get us another win, which would give us a winning season. That's one of our goals every year, and be able to check that box. And if we could win, move to 4-0, that'd be getting you close to maybe clinching a spot. I don't know if you can say that with all certainty. It depends on how some other games come out, but very likely put you in a position where you could guarantee a playoff spot.
You break down this Brahmas offense. Michael Marach, the quarterback, dual threat. He's the leading rusher on the team for MacArthur. How do you handle a quarterback who can make plays both with his arms and his legs?
Well, we've played a few of them, as you know, and you've got to concede's a bad word, but you've got to come to grips with the fact that he's going to make some plays, and they just can't be the explosive play. We can't let him buy time, extend the play 8, 10, 12 seconds, and find somebody wide open for a touchdown behind everybody, because you can't hold coverage that long. Likewise, on the zone read and some of the quarterback read run game that they have, we got to make sure we're not just a step slow or just a little hesitant because we chased the wrong threat. And so that puts a lot of pressure on our defense, and they'll be tested that way Friday night.
Other side of the football, when you have the ball and MacArthur lines up defensively, they've had a tough time getting stops this season. They've given up a lot of points, but again, you always respect your opponent, and you do know they have athletes outside of the football, and you say this all the time, expecting to go 8, 10 plays, 75, 80 yards out every time. That's not possible no matter who you're playing. How big would the explosive play be for you offensively this Friday?
Well, they're important every week, and this will be no exception. You know, TJ's given us a bunch of that in the throwing game. Braden beat us on some of his misdirection run game, and then we've begun to get a few from our tailback as well. And so, you know, we'll need that. But then we also want to have the ability to grind and control the clock and keep their offense off the field and wear teams down. It doesn't need to be one or the other. We need to be able to do both. And we will this Friday.
Again, I mentioned this is a program you used to be in a district with that has had some athletes. Jay Samaro was a great tight end for them, went on to play at Texas Tech and later with the New York Jets. Jonathan Craig was a really good running back for them back in the day. What do you recall about your time sharing a district with MacArthur?
Well, you know, that whole group, that was probably the premier district in the league when we were in it at the time, us and Judson and then the Northeast schools. Wasn't uncommon for some of us to go all the way to the quarterfinals and face another team right back from the district in the quarterfinals. And Mac was a big part of that. We had quite a few wars with them, very tense, close games. Won most of them, didn't win them all. And then, you know, having to travel and get into town and just kind of get out of your comfort zone. You're not playing at Ranger Stadium, you know. You're not going to New Braunfels. We're going into town, traffic jams, maybe a late arriving crowd, just you know, it's just a little different, and you got to learn to handle that. And we had to do that a bunch back in the day. That's back when Blossom seemed to be our second home.
Yep.
And now we go there a little less frequently, but it'll be the same type of challenge.
Again, Smithson Valley taking on MacArthur this Friday in San Antonio. A game we'll have for you on the Rangers Network. And Coach, best of luck.
All right, thank you, Brant.
For head coach Larry Hill, I'm Brant Freeman. You've been watching Inside Rangers Football, and we'll see you next time.